This is bipolar scrapbooking. Although this is it's starting to come out like it's not scrapbooking, obviously. Um, Yesterday, I'm gonna start calling this day 4. We're gonna go day by day, okay? So day by day in my life, trying to become a better mom, better wife, better person. And I'm going to tell you really what's going on. Okay? So, yesterday, I'm going to give you my negatives. Failure, I felt like a failure a little. I didn't follow through with the iPad threat or punishment. Not threat, punishment. And I'll tell you, well, I had them not play with the iPad, and I was sort of successful. I didn't want them to play with the iPad the whole day, but I gave in at 3 o'clock p.m. and I let them play with their iPad until bedtime. But sort of. We'll get into that. Laundry. I didn't finish it up. I guess because of the stress in the house and how upset my husband was, and I was because my husband was upset. There was a lot of negative feeling in the house. It didn't, the kids feed off of that. And sometimes as adults, we're not aware really how much this actually affects the children, because in the moment, you're not thinking of the kids. You're thinking of what's going on in your feelings and expressing it and just letting it out. So my oldest son kicked his little brother in the butt. Not hard, but still the action was wrong. And because that happened, the other twin saw that happen and decided to kick the same brother in the belly. Now, it wasn't a kick like karate kick, which they do know how to do, but it was just, you pissed me off, I'm going to kick you in the butt. And then the other one is, I saw my brother do it, let me just do it also. So one of my kids got kicked, and the same one got kicked in the belly. Yeah. We dealt with it in the moment, and the oldest one got spanked and sent to his room. We do believe in spanking. A lot of people don't. We spanked first, talked later. We were too angry, and we should have done the counting and send them to their room, but we didn't. We spanked first. My hubby and I, we knew we were very wrong, okay? And, well, I'm just telling you the negatives first. Another thing that I did was, after everything that happened during the day, no, actually I'm going to follow through with the after the kicking, and we spanked him and sent him to his room. We did that with the 8-year-old, and we did it with the other one, one of the twins that kicked in the stomach, which is Owen, okay? Owen. Sent him to the room. After a while, when we were able to calm down, we went inside the room and kept on talking to him. And we did a lot of talking and explaining, and we were like, does Amma and Appa kick you? No. Does Amma and Appa slap you? No. Of course, as a parent, we don't want to admit, okay, does Amma and Appa spank you? Because there's an odd feeling of how society and what people believe should be done at home. It's not that I'm picking my words carefully. It's just that my brain is has everything reversed. So to be able to talk to you and say things that you would understand, it's very difficult for me. Okay, so work with me here. So basically, I was raised with spanking, but I learned. I did respect my mom. She was the only one that spanked, but I did respect my mother. I did not talk back to her. I would never have thought of doing that. Okay, I don't. I guess this. It's my fault. As far as the iPad, I mean, we didn't have any of that back then. We had no computers. It didn't even truly existed a home computer for everybody. You know, cell phones. They didn't have it then. Ooh, that's scary. You know, I never saw cassettes. I saw the what are those called? 8 tracks? The big ones, you know? Remember those days? Yeah, Bee Gees, all that stuff. So as time went by, kids got older, you know, and then we thought, you know, like now, the kids think that they should have a cell phone and you should buy it for me and all these things. Well, I'm coming off track here. I'm getting off track here. So we sat there and we talked to our children, and but they were still in punishment. Okay, so they did stay in their room. The other one was very upset, didn't want to stay in his room, which is the 4-year-old. And then eventually we got them all in one room, and we all powwowed. We all sat down and we talked about it. Okay, although powwow doesn't sound like a powwow, right? Because that's when they used to do the powwows or like smoking and stuff like that. No, we didn't do that. We sat down and we talked. Group meeting, family meeting. That's the one. All right. Another thing I did that I felt bad about was after all happened, my husband sat down and we were watching the Seahawks and the Broncos. And I always go against my husband. So if he goes for Broncos, I go for the Seahawks. And we won, so I won. And I told him thank you for picking the one for me. But he was, you know, he was saying sorry to me about how he felt yesterday, and he was trying to get close to me and lovey-dovey, but I felt like I didn't deserve that. I felt very odd because I couldn't understand how you can love someone that didn't finish up the laundry, that made you feel upset as far as finances and stuff. It was hard for me to accept the apology or to realize that it's okay and things go forward. It was hard for me. So for him to touch me, I felt odd. And I didn't want him to touch me. And he said, "I love you." And I basically replied, "Mm-hmm." I don't know what to say. Okay, let's go for the positives here. What happened? iPad was taken away, even though they got back on until at 3 p.m., which for us here in this house, it is a big deal, okay? It is. But we actually followed through halfway, and it counts. It's better halfway than none at all, okay, than giving in completely. Timeout was followed. They did stay in their rooms. And then we talked about it, and bedtime was immediately after we talked. So even though they had tantrums, and my 8-year-old, horrible tantrum, because he's spoiled. So we never 100% followed through with our punishments, and we did yesterday, and yes, it was very difficult. Uh, but we really have to stay on the ball, and I say we because mom and dad is home, mom and dad is raising the children. So if we're together and we back each other, we support each other, then it's, okay, I can't deal with this, you deal with it. But we both stuck with it, and that I believe is what made the kids actually move their butts and do what they had to do. Um, Bedtime early. Yes, they did. Talked it out with the kids and read story. I didn't want. I was still upset with my 8-year-old. I mean, truly upset. Even after the talk and everything, I was still upset because I don't want. Nobody wants their 8-year-old, being rude or a bully to their brother. It's a bully, and I don't want that. I don't want that for my children, and I know it starts with me. Okay? So talking is important. And I didn't want to read him a bedtime story. I know, it sounds horrible. And, because I always read to the 4-year-olds, and my 8-year-old knows how to read for himself. But even with me being upset, I did tell him, okay, do you want to sit down with us and you're going to listen to us? He says, fine. So he did, and I did read to all of them. Eventually, when everything was done, the kids went to bed, I sat down with my husband and we were eating shrimps and stuff like that, and chips and carrots. And I felt relaxed and okay. Kids are in bed. Half of the stress isn't there. So I was able to open up a little, and I did look at my husband. I told him, I love you. But that's all I could do. This morning, my son last night, his tooth fell out. And he's 8 years old, and he still believes in the tooth fairy. So I wrote a note. Put it in an envelope, and put fairy dust in there, and $1. And he still thinks that the tooth fairy has the feathers let off fairy dust. So, yeah, that was good, and it was a nice morning. I made sure I got up and got the kids. Can you tell I don't truly get up that easily? I don't. I got up, made the kids their breakfast, made sure they had their socks and shoes on, which is something I do. Made sure they brushed their teeth, and I fixed their hair, and made sure they had, clothes. The only problem is that since I didn't complete all the laundry, I could not believe that half the laundry I did do, there was no pants for my 8-year-old. He was wearing shorts that I forgot to hem, so he had shorts on that was half long and half short, and the edges were all frayed, and I had to grab pants out of the dirty laundry and try and shake it out and give it to him. Maybe that's where the boys get it from, as far as when they get older, the men. I really don't know if any man out there really does, reverse their underwear and wear it the other way. Oh, that's so disgusting. Okay. Other than that, most important is today, my hubby did go to school because he's a teacher, all happy. And I'm happy about that. Let's pray when he comes back home, everything's good. So today's day 5. So I gave you information of day 4. This is day 5. In the morning, I will come back tomorrow and talk to you about the rest of day 5. and 15 minutes. Okay, we're done. Love you. Bye. Love, love.